The sentencing of Bryan Kohberger, as well as victim impact statements, are big news, and we're taking the opportunity to look back with a compressed timeline.
Even though he pleaded guilty, our viewers are still skeptical.
I am Andrew Myers, an attorney in Massachusetts and New Hampshire. This is About the Law, and joining me today again, Kelsey. How are you, Kels?
I'm good. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. This is a day that came shockingly sooner than we all thought. We all thought that a trial was going to start in August of 2025, but here we are. Kind of a surprise that Bryan Kohberger pled guilty. And so now it is the day of sentencing. And before the sentencing, as we record this episode, there will be statements by the families of the victims. And our friend Sue Kopinski was at the court. This was the scene outside the Ada County Courthouse in Boise. People had been lining up overnight, and Sue, who's been on our channel several times, was there. And this was the scene. Looks kind of chaotic, doesn't it?
It does.
So that was outside the Ada County Courthouse. And she said, obviously, there were a lot of media. There was a little bit of pushing and shoving, but not too much. So she, survived. She will be inside, and hopefully she will be on our next episode to tell us, in person what it was like to be there. But before we go inside, our survey showed why people are still so skeptical about this whole thing. According to the people that responded to our survey, 9%, agreed that he's guilty. He said he was guilty. 7% still hang on to not guilty. But by and large, the majority of the people that responded to our survey said, and 58%, not guilty. Something's fishy. Did that surprise you?
It kind of didn't surprise me because, this whole time, everybody's been saying that they didn't think he was guilty. I personally still think he is, but that he wasn't alone.
Yeah, I kind of, the other attorneys, there are so many attorneys on YouTube who have done episodes on this case, and the ones I'm watching anyhow, unlike myself, are saying, well, he said that he is guilty, and so therefore he is guilty, and so we have to respect that, and he's guilty. I'm not there yet. I'm in category 5. There's just too many questions about the whole thing. There's just way too many questions. And so I'm going to buck the trend of all the other legal channels and say, I've got to see a lot more. I'm sorry. I've got to see a lot more. So let's go back now to our timeline. And we thought that the general time of the sentencing would be an appropriate time to just look back and do a quick, top 10 or 12 events that made this episode stand out. So we all remember, I think, on November 13th of 2022, Madison Mogen, Kaylee Goncalves, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle were found deceased at 1122 King Road in Moscowidaho. They were found after an 8-hour delay that to this day has never been explained. An 8-hour delay between the time of the crime, according to the law enforcement timeline of just between 4 o'clock and 4:20, 8 hours between then and the 911 call, hours later at 11:58.
On December 7, 2022, Moscow, Idaho police removed victims' personal possessions from the off-campus housing at 1122 King Road. Chief Fry himself drives a U-Haul truck to the scene. Forensic experts questioned disturbing the scene so soon after the crime before opportunity for the full complete examination, later re-examination. Moscow police claim the items are no longer needed and families have a right to them.
And the importance of that was there were forensic experts that said, wait a minute, 2 things here, 3 really. One, there were apparently a lot of forensic tests done in the home, but wait a minute. Why not leave the crime scene pristine the way it was in case after the testing by both the state and the defense, if there are questions, if there was maybe a little bit of, an indication that there might be something that's worth looking into later, do it. So to remove the possessions is just a little bit fishy. That's number one. Number two, as horrifying as the scene is, family members would know what possessions were belonging to the residents of that home, the four that were no longer with us. Let the family members go in, take a look, and see what they think is ajar and shouldn't be there. And the third thing is the police chief himself drives the U-Haul. Really? I live in a tiny little town, and even my tiny little town police department has their own trucks, and I don't think the police chief would ever be caught dead driving any of them. Just my opinion. December 30th, 2022, 6 weeks and 5 days after the crime, Bryan Kohberger is arrested at his parents' home in Albrightsville, Pennsylvania, in the Poconos. Moscow officers, FBI, and Pennsylvania State Police break the door down and the windows. Kohberger reportedly asks whether anyone else was arrested in connection with the events of November 13th.
May 17, 2023, an Idaho grand jury indicts Kohberger on 4 counts of first degree and 1 count of burglary. The closed secret nature of grand jury proceedings cancels the more public preliminary hearing in which details would have been disclosed. Cancellation of the preliminary hearing also means that Bethany Funk, a surviving roommate at 1122 King Road, will not need to testify. A defense investigator, Richard Batante, had filed an affidavit stating Bethany Funk had exculpatory information.
Still an unanswered question. We just, what was that exculpatory information? August 23rd, we jump to in 2023, Bryan Kohberger waives his right to a speedy trial, and the original trial date of October 2nd, 2023 is pushed back.
December 28, 2023, 1122 King Road property is demolished. University of Idaho President Scott Green acquired ownership. Neither defense nor prosecution officially contested the demolition. At least 2 of the victims' families contest the demolition, saying 1122 should be saved until trial. It is later disclosed that debris was buried deep underground, purportedly out of claimed fear that people would seek souvenirs.
That's crazy. A lot of people think that's one of the craziest things that's ever happened in this case or any other, that they not only, demolished the premises, but that they also just buried the remainder of what was left of it. I mean, just fishy. September 16th, 2024, Judge John Judge grants a change of venue out of Latah County. This follows a lengthy hearing featuring 5 experts testifying that ingrained bias, largely due to pervasive media coverage, would make it impossible to seat an unbiased jury. Days later, it was announced the case would be tried in Boise, Idaho. That's in Ada County, Idaho.
November 7, 2024, Kohberger's defense team argues over 20 motions to take the death penalty off the table on various grounds. Grounds include that Idaho is incapable of carrying out the death penalty in a humane manner, that it violates international standards, and society has moved away from supporting it. All motions are denied.
And we have to remember that the events in this case occurred on November 13th of 2022. And then in March of 2023, right after that, the legislature in Idaho passed a law bringing in the firing squad as the method of capital punishment, which is bizarre. And it's partly because the companies that sell the chemicals that are used for, lethal injection, those companies don't want to sell those drugs anymore to any state, especially Idaho. And so the legislator said, "Oh, okay, we'll bring back the we'll bring back the firing squad." Do you believe that?
That's crazy.
So as we move along the timeline, November 17th of 2024, Kohberger's defense team filed a lot of motions in this case. In this instance, they filed multiple motions to suppress evidence, including DNA samples and digital evidence. The motions were based on claims including that police officers deliberately withheld or misrepresented facts in obtaining search warrants. All of the motions were denied.
March 7th, 2025. New documents released in the case included text messages between Bethany and Dylan in the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022, and the 911 call at 11:58 that morning, 8 hours after law enforcement's timeline of the moment of the crime.
June 26, 2025. Judge Stephen Hippler rejects the defense motion to allow presentation of the theory of alternative perpetrators. The court takes the alternate perpetrator defense off the table, saying the defense's evidence is irrelevant and would require the jury to speculate. The court also denied a request by the defense to delay the trial based partially on the fact that they had still been unable to get through massive discovery documents in the case and partially on massive pretrial publicity.
June 30th, 2025. Nearly all case followers are shocked with the news that Bryan Kohberger has accepted a plea agreement in which the death penalty is taken off the table in exchange for a guilty plea on all counts. 2 days later, Kohberger pleads guilty in open courts to all counts.
So, yeah, that was a big surprise. I mean, for those of us that have followed the Idaho 4 case, it was a shock. I remember I was doing something else, and a friend of mine actually texted me, Bryan Kohberger is going to plead guilty. And you know how there's just a lot of stuff out there on the internet? You know how you just hear things? I said, no, he's not. That's not true. And she persisted. She said, no, Andrew, I'm telling you right now, he's pleading guilty. It's all over the place. And, the podcasters, the YouTubers that I always watch are all going to have to retract it if you're right. And I'm like, no. And so I finished up what I was doing. I was really involved in a project that I was working on, and I really didn't have time to get away from it. But it shocked me. It really shocked me. And that night I sent a little apology. I think she's still mad at me, but that's okay. A lot of people are mad at me. We get called all kinds of names doing these podcasts, as we're going to see in the next part of this program. As we do in our midweek episodes, we always take a look at our viewer comments, and you're going to see that people aren't always so thrilled with us.
Number 5, take it easy, Bev. I have a feeling many of the interesting docs we wonder about related to Bethany and Dylan will remain sealed.
I don't know about that. What do you think about that? Do you think that they'll unseal them?
I think eventually they will unseal them. Eventually they're going to have to say something, speak about something, unseal them.
I just think that Bethany and Dylan have got to be two of the happiest people on the planet right now, that they've been relieved of this cloud that's been hanging over their head, that they were going to have to testify. And that, at least with respect to Dylan, there's so many questions about her credibility, and we just don't know about Bethany. She has been silent as a church mouse. Number 4, in my humble opinion, I believe the biggest right to appeal is ineffective counsel, and it has nothing to do with what Ann has done. It has to do with the mountains of evidence that she and her staff would need another 6 to 12 months to go through, that the judge pretty much said, tough beans. We're going to court anyway. That gives him the right to appeal due to ineffective counsel. And at first I wondered about this, but it is true that if your attorney has not been given proper opportunity to go through all the discovery, and there were 68 terabytes, people have said, well, some of it's video that has nothing to do with anything, and that may be true. That may all be true, but I mean, if your attorney hasn't had a chance to go through all the discovery, that's ineffective counsel, even if you have the best lawyer in the world, even if you have, Clarence Darrow or Johnny Cochran or the Karen Reed defense team, who in my mind were just the best attorneys. Even if you have a team like that, if they haven't had the opportunity to go through everything, that is ineffective assistance of counsel.
Number 3, Jay Pang. This case is nothing but a big cover-up, manipulation, and you guilters are simply foolishly following the state's narratives being mouth-fed to your brain.
Oh, see, just last week, do you remember just last week we were called probers? So, if you're trying to be objective, if you try and stay in the middle, if you don't want to go down the tunnels, if you don't want to just immediately jump to, hey, he's guilty, if you want to analyze the facts that are out there, that are in the documents, that are covered by the evidence, we've taken it from both sides. And, we've been called Kohbergers, which I don't really know what that is. I guess it means that, we think, he's okay, which we don't. Or you're a guilter, which means he's guilty. And then, during the whole course of this case, which has been going on since November of 2022, not quite 3 years at this point, we try to remain objective. We've tried to step back and be critical of both sides, critical of the defense and critical of the state. The case was botched from the beginning. I think any objective analysis has got to say that the case was botched. We weren't given full information from the very start. It's never been explained to us about that 8-hour delay. It's never been explained to us why they went in, even before Mr. Kohberger was arrested in Pennsylvania on December 30th of 2022, why they went in there and they're tromping through there and bringing possessions out. I mean, that's never been explained to us. Oh, don't you love these self-serving ones I sneak in here? Ed Riley says, good job, Andrew. Thanks, Ed. I'm not sure where we are in this case because of the sudden apparent ending. Still haven't got my feet steady yet to look at this as rational closure. Appreciate you. Ed, get back to us after you have a chance to think about it, after you have a chance to take it all in. I would like to hear from you.
Number 1. Mr. Naysayer 1. That's not how it works. You can't tease us with a good psychological podcast about Bryan Kohberger and then not reveal the name of the channel where you heard it.
Okay, I have to explain this one. Do you remember that I said that I had seen a really good episode on YouTube from a psychologist who had not only, looked at the facts and then delivered his thoughts and opinions about Mr. Kohberger, but he eerily, interestingly said that he knew that Mr. Kohberger had actually watched his episode, which is kind of interesting because he did his episode, a long time ago. Before Mr. Kohberger was arrested and taken into custody. So he had found out, and I don't know how would he, as a YouTuber, how would he have found out that Kohberger watched his episode? Is there a way to do that?
No.
Really?
I don't think you can see specific views.
Yeah, that's weird. But he had found out, and then he did another episode. So this answers this question. It was Dr. Todd Grande. That's his name, and his channel is under @Dr. Grande. I don't know the man, never spoken to the man. I just think that so he hasn't reached out for us to plug him. We're not intentionally plugging him, but it is a good episode. It was a really good episode. In my headphones, I am hearing Judge Hippler. I am hearing him, so we're gonna go there. We are going to go there.
State is represented by Mr.
Can you hear that now?
Ms. Jennings,
Yes.
Mr. Hurwitz, Mr. Nye, and Ms. Allen. This is the time set for sentencing in this case.
Is that better?
The defendant previously entered a plea of guilty to 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of felony burglary. In exchange, the parties stipulated to recommend a sentence consisting of, on burglary, 10 years fixed, on each of the 4 counts of first-degree murder, life fixed. The parties waived pre-sentence investigation. To my understanding, neither party.
Interesting. Look at Mr. Kohberger is no longer allowed to wear his shirt and tie, and he's sitting there once again with his orange jail uniform. Isn't that interesting?
That is.
It has reviewed them throughout the duration of trial. As why sentence should not be imposed at this time.
No, Your Honor.
Does the state, before impact statements and arguments, wish to present evidence today?
Your Honor, the state does not intend to present evidence in a documentary, since we have provided the court through the clerk with photographs that we would like to use during the course of our sentencing argument.
Sure. All right.
Thank you.
But no testimony other than impact statements?
That's correct, Your Honor.
All right. So.
And that's why a lot of people have a lot of questions about this case. People have a lot of questions about this case and some contradictory, apparently, statements that were made by Prosecutor Thompson the last time around. But in any event, here we are.
Any of the victims wish to have the camera not running and audio only, and my understanding is all of them indicated they are fine with the video. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct.
All right, very well. Go ahead, Ms. Jennings.
Your Honor, the first, and we're taking these in the order, victim impact statements in the order that the charges were listed in the indictment.
That's Ashley Jennings.
The first charge being burglary. So we will have Bethany Funk's statement, and she has asked that her friend Emily Alant read that statement.
Oh, interesting. So we're not going to see
Very well.
Bethany. Ms. Alant, a good friend of Bethany's.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll be speaking on behalf of Bethany, and so, yeah, here it reads. My name is Bethany Funk, and I was roommates with Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. I not only lost some of my best friends, but I also lost a sister. Never in a million years would I have thought that something like this would have happened to my closest friends. I thought that we were going to wake up and go upstairs, see them and tell them how they had scared us and that they were going to tease us about how we are constantly scaredy cats and make jokes about it as we would go to Taco Bell like always. But sadly, that is not what happened and what turned out to be my worst nightmare. When I first woke up that morning, I had no idea what happened. I woke up around 7 with a terrible toothache. So I called my dad, who is a dentist, and he asked what I should do. He told me to take Advil, so I did, and I went back to sleep. I was still out of it and still didn't know what happened. If I had known, I of course would have called 911 right away. I still carry so much regret and guilt for not knowing what had happened and not calling right away, even though I understand it wouldn't have changed anything, not even if the paramedics had been right outside the door. I was so frantic that morning and scared to death, not knowing what had happened. And when I made the 911 call, I couldn't even get out the words. And from then on, I don't remember a thing. It was like my brain wiped that whole memory. That was the worst day of my life. And I know it always will be. While I was still in shock, trying to process the fact that my friends were truly gone, I had been attacked by the public. I was grieving, numb, and unsure of what had happened was even real. And at the same time, I was getting flooded with death threats and hateful messages from people who did not know me at all or know the dynamic of our friendship. Social media made it so much worse, and strangers made up stories to entertain themselves. The media harassed not just me, but also my family. People showed up at our house. They called my phone, my parents' phones, other family members' phones, and we were chased while I was still trying to survive emotionally and grieve the loss of my friends. I hated and still hate that they are gone, but for some reason, I am still here and I got to live. I still think about this every day. Why me? Why did I get to live and not them? For the longest time, I could not even look at their families without feeling sick with guilt. I did not know what to say or what to do. I was terrified that my presence just made their pain worse. And I was still here when their kid, their siblings and their friends, their loved ones should have been here instead. After everything happened, I was afraid to go into my own backyard or alone in my house. I was scared that the person who did this would come for me next. I was always scared that the media would try to catch me at any moment of any day, even when I was just walking around my house. I made my parents close all the blinds during the day so no one could see me even in the slightest chance. I barely left the house, and when I did, I made sure I was never alone. I slept in my parents' room for almost a year. I made them double lock every door, set an alarm, and still check everywhere in the room just in case someone was hiding. And I still check my room every night before, and I double lock it. I have not slept through a single night since this happened. I constantly wake up in panics, terrified. Someone is breaking in, or someone is here to hurt me, or I'm about to lose someone else that I love. The fear never really leaves. For a long time, I could barely get out of bed, but one day I realized I have to live for them. They did not get the chance to keep living, but I do, and I will not take that for granted. So now every day I remind myself to live for them, and everything I do it with them in mind. I am still scared to go out in public, but I force myself to do things because I know that they would want me to keep living my life to the fullest. I am beyond blessed to still be here, and I refuse to take that for granted when they did not get a chance. Our house was not just a house, it was a home. It was where we laughed till we couldn't breathe, make meals, did crafts, binge watch reality shows, played games, and spent lazy days on the couch. It was movie nights, wine nights, morning debriefs, pranks, hot chocolate, cookies, and warmth. I would cherish those memories forever, and I will not let what happened erase how special our home was or how much those memories meant to me. Now I would like to share some bits and pieces of who they were as people and some of the memories that we shared. One of my favorite memories was Halloween, and we all went to Sigma Chi. But instead of partying, we just sat in an apartment, talking and laughing all night long. I do not think I've ever laughed that hard in my life. We did not care about the party. We were just happy to be with each other. Xana was 1 in a million. She was the life of the party.
In case you're just joining us, this is Emily Alant, a friend of Bethany Funk's, reading a very emotional statement that Bethany Funk wrote and asked that she not read it, but that Emily read it for her.
She was just someone you always wanted to be around, no matter the circumstance. One of my favorite days with Xana was when she laid on the couch, when we laid on the couch together all day, watching movies and snacking. Me, Maddie, and I.
Kohberger's just sitting there. He's just sitting there looking down, looking ahead, as always, no emotion, zero emotion. Even Ann Taylor to his right, our left, and Elisa Massoth, two of his attorneys. They look, wouldn't you agree, they look like they're kind of hit by this emotion?
Yeah.
They look like, they're struck by all of this. I mean, they've been defending him. Ann Taylor put her arm on him and said, "We believe our client's innocent." And here we are.
Ethan was the sweetest, most genuine guy. He was always smiling and always making other people smile too. Ethan was the kind of person you wanted around. He was so kind and easy to talk to and just so fun. And the way he cared for Xana was truly something to admire. And really was proof that storybook love and true romances really do exist. It was not only obvious to me, but everyone that was around Ethan and Xana that they were absolute soulmates. Maddie was not only one of my best friends, but she was the older sister I would have always wanted. There was no one I looked up to or admired more than Maddie. She was truly a ray of sunshine, and everyone was drawn to her. She was so kind, loving, funny, fun, and passionate. She had the sweetest soul and wanted nothing but the best for everyone and to love and show love to everyone. She took me under her wing and always made me feel so safe and included, and above all, loved and valued. She never failed to make me laugh or put a smile on my face. Still to this day, I am beyond grateful that she chose me to be her sorority little, and I thank God every day that I not only got to know her, but had her as one of my best friends. Honestly, I cannot pinpoint one favorite memory with Maddie because I have so many, and this would be a very long read if I did. But if some little memories with her that I cherish is when the two of us made a nice dinner and split some wine, or when we would binge watch Jersey Shore or Summer House. When we came up with a whole dance routine on Halloween and danced and sang all night, like no one was watching. All the late night walks home from going out, and just little shopping trips and so much more. I am beyond blessed that I had the chance to know each and every one of them. They changed my life in ways I would have never put into words. I hope that they are remembered for who they are, not what happened to them, because who they are were so beautiful, and they deserve to be remembered in the highest way. My heart breaks every time I go to text one of them or how badly I wish I could see and hang out with them. And then I remember I cannot. I will never be able to again. But I still talk to them in my prayers every single night, and I always will. I wish more than anything I could hug them one last time. And I wish I could tell them how much I love them. And even though I cannot, I still tell them every night. I will keep living for them as long as I am lucky enough to still be here. And they were all truly one of a kind, and they will be in our hearts forever and always.
My appreciation for her courage, and I hope that she heals.
Next is Dylan Mortonson. We're asking for some accommodations for Miss Mortonson and that she be allowed to sit in my seat.
Sure.
Dylan Mortonson, the second roommate that was a survivor. Heard a lot about Dylan, and this is the first time we've really seen her
Dylan,
alive
just take your time, all right?
since November 13th of 2022. Bill Thompson should not be staring at her so much. Don't you think he should, kind of chill?
Oh, no, it's like right on her.
Having a hard time composing herself. I can understand that. Bill Thompson, go
Thank you,
sit
Your
somewhere
Honor.
else.
What happened that night changed everything. Because of him, for beautiful, genuine, compassionate people were taken from this world for no reason. He didn't just take their lives. He took the light they carried into every room. He took away how they made everyone feel safe, loved, and full of joy. He took away the ability for me to tell them that I love them and that I'm so proud of them. He took away who they were becoming and the futures they were going to have. He took away birthdays, graduations, celebrations, and all the memories that we were supposed to make. All of it is gone. And all the people who loved them are just left to carry that weight forever. He didn't just take them from the world. He took them from me, my friends, my people who felt like my home, the people I looked up to and adored more than anyone. He took away my ability to trust the world around me. What he did shattered me in places I didn't know could break. I was barely 19 when he did this. We had just celebrated my birthday at the end of September. I should have been figuring out who I was. I should have been having the college experience and starting to establish my future. Instead, I was forced to learn how to survive the unimaginable. I couldn't be alone. I had to sleep in my mom's bed because I was too terrified to close my eyes. Terrified that if I blinked, someone might be there. I made escape plans everywhere I went. If something happens, how do I get out? What can I use to defend myself? Who can help? And then there are the panic attacks. The kind that slam into me like a tsunami out of nowhere. I can't breathe. I can't think. I can't stop shaking. All I can do is scream because the emotional pain and the grief is too much to handle. My chest feels like it's caving in. Sometimes I drop to the floor with my heart racing, convinced something is very wrong. It's far beyond anxiety. It's my body reliving everything over and over again. My nervous system never got the message that it is over, and it won't let me forget what he did to them. People call me strong. They say I'm a survivor, but they don't see what my new reality looks like. They don't see the panic attacks, the hypervigilance, the exhaustion, the way I scan every room I enter, the way I flinch at sudden sounds. They don't know how heavy it is to carry so much pain and still be expected to keep going, and that's because of him. He stole parts of me I may never get back. He took the version of me who didn't constantly ask, what if it happens again? What if next time I don't survive? He may have shattered parts of me, but I'm still putting myself back together. Piece by piece, I'm learning how to live in this new version of life. It is not easy. It hurts, but I'm still trying. Still trying, and I'm not trying just for me. I'm trying for them, my friends. About a year ago, I had a dream about them. I got to say goodbye. I told them I won't be able to see you again, so I need to tell you goodbye. They all kept asking why, and all I could say was, I can't tell you, but I have to. When I woke up, I felt shattered and heartbroken, but also strangely grateful. Like maybe in some way that dream gave us the goodbye we never got. Still, no dream can replace them, and no goodbye will ever feel finished. He is a hollow vessel, something less than human. A body without empathy, without remorse. He chose destruction. He chose evil. He feels nothing. He tried to take everything from me. My friends, my safety, my identity, my future. He took their lives, but I will continue trying to be like them, to make them proud. Living is how I honor them.
She's right there. You see like zero emotion on his face. He's just sitting there. He's just sitting there staring forward. He could,
But he will,
you know, it looks like he could care less.
he will never take the memories I had with them. He will never erase the love we shared, the laughs we had, or the way they made me feel seen and whole. Those things are mine. They are sacred, and he will never touch them. I get to feel sadness. I get to feel rage. I get to feel joy even when it's hard. I get to feel love even when it hurts. I get to live. And while I will still live with this pain, at least I get to live my life. He will stay here, empty, forgotten, and powerless.
Jolie,
Powerful
thank you so
statement.
much for your courage.
Very powerful statement by Dylan Mortonson, one of the two surviving roommates. I just thought it was creepy the way William Thompson was just sitting, leaning into her and staring at her. In my mind, I thought that was creepy.
Next, we have members from the Madison Mogen family. First would be Scott Laramie, Madison Mogen's stepfather.
He's been somewhat outspoken, at least towards the beginning. He was more outspoken than he was in later days. Scott Laramie, the stepfather of Madison Mogen.
Standing by him is Karen Laramie, Madison's mother.
Thank you, Your Honor. My name is Scott Laramie. I'm Maddie Mogen's stepfather and the husband of Maddie's mother, Karen Laramie. I will read this victim impact statement on behalf of Karen and myself. Maddie was our gift of life, our purpose, and our hope. Maddie quickly became Karen's joy, identity, and purpose in life. I joined Maddie's life when she was 2.5 years old. Experience transformed me into a life of joy, love, and family. Maddie was bright, beautiful, kind, empathic. She listened carefully to others and was observant, seeing and caring about the hearts and the minds of all she encountered. She loved music and music festivals. She had a wonderful sense of humor. She excelled in school. She was an easy child to raise, almost never requiring discipline, and almost always giving us parental joy. One time Karen remembers disciplining Maddie as a little girl. Maddie responded, "You broke my heart," which of course melted ours. She had a keen wit, even at that young age. As she transitioned into teenage years, she prioritized us and extended family over many of the distractions that capture teenagers. She showered us with her presence and love at family events, barbecues, picnics, birthdays, holidays, and others. She spent countless hours with her papa, her Uncle David, Aunt Nadine, and her other close family and friends. This world was a better place with her in it. As she reached adulthood, Maddie applied her studies to be a marketing professional, entering into an internship at Payne West, and started planning her professional future. As with all things, she involved Karen and myself in the joy of her journey. As she transitioned into womanhood, Karen and I continued to be astounded at this wonderful and accomplished person we had created. All parents dream of their children accomplishing more than them. We realized this dream, all we had not become, she was becoming. Karen and I are ordinary people, but we lived extraordinary lives because we had Maddie. Maddie was taken senselessly and brutally in a sudden act of evil. She was taken along with the young, promising, and bright lives of Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan. First, we felt disbelief. Next, we felt disorientation. Then we felt grief overcome us. Our grief is compounded even more for the Goncalves, Kernodle, and Chapin families. We speak of hope and healing, and we do have hope and some healing. But the vast emotional wound will never fully heal. Since Maddie's loss, there's emptiness in our hearts, home, and family, an endless void. After losing her mother in a car crash, Karen took years to grieve and recover. The feeling that her life with Maddie and A was perfect helped her to start to heal. Now, this is no longer perfect. After Maddie's loss, Karen felt like she was spinning out, emotionally collapsing into anxiety and depression. She sometimes asks, how am I supposed to go on when I've lost my favorite person in the world? I felt the same, and we continue to struggle. The loss of Maddie has impacted so many beyond our family. Her second family is her sorority sisters who grieve alongside us. She has so many close friends who suffer from her loss. We will continue to be, her loss will continue to be felt by the Vandal community, including Vandal Solutions on campus, where she volunteered her time for others. As for her sentence, we support the plea agreement. Society needs to be protected against this evil. As for the defendant, we will not waste the words, nor will we fall into hatred and bitterness. Evil has many faces, and we now know this, but evil does not deserve our time and attention. We are done being victims. We are taking back our lives. We will turn our time, talents, and attention to hope, healing, and helping others, and to the future. We invite all those who have suffered with us on this to join us in our journey. We can make this world a better place. We can move on from tragedy. Adversity will visit us, evil will visit us, but we will overcome. We can and will endure. Karen and I express our gratitude to Your Honor and to the prosecution team for allowing us the opportunity to make this statement. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your courage, and I am so sorry for your loss.
Your Honor, this is Leander James. He's the attorney for the Mogan family.
My name is Leander James. I am the pro bono counsel for Karen and Scott Laramie. Karen has asked me to read this statement into the record. I thank my husband, Scott, for his statement, his courage, and his unending love and support during this dark time. While words are inadequate to capture the impact of this horrific crime on our family, he expressed it as best anyone could. For Maddie's sake, I will add my supplement statement that incorporates additional impact in the context of my extended family. I am grateful to Maddie's great uncle, Bryan Kohberger, for assisting me with the difficult task of putting our pain into words. For me and my extended family, Maddie was our hope and our light. Her beauty, both outside and in, shone its light upon everyone with whom she came in contact. Her beauty, she carried that hope and light into the future for our entire family. We have memories of our Maddie and grief and pain at her being taken from our presence. Any one of us would have given our own light to have been outshone by hers. We now look to our Creator to know that her light continues where we look to see her in His presence. Those who commit evil for their own twisted gains and purposes truly defile the efforts and sacrifices of mothers, fathers, families, teachers, clergy, public servants, service members, and all those who commit themselves to the greater good, freedoms, and the future light of our nation. Condemnation falls heavily upon those who squandered the lives of our future hopes and dreams. Some may offer forgiveness for what the defendant has done. However, we cannot at this time, or perhaps ever, nor will we ask for mercy for what he has done. His acts are too heinous. The agony and grief he has caused, too great. But we will waste no further words or thoughts on him. For Maddie's sake, we will move on. We will do our best to carry Maddie's light into this world and make it a better place. I thank the court and the prosecution for allowing me the opportunity to make my statement. And I thank all those who have and will support my family and the families of Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan.
Thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Laramie. Appreciate it.
Next is Ben Mogen, the father of Maddie Mogen. Actually, Your Honor, it'll be Kim Cheeley, the grandmother of Maddie Mogen.
My name is Kim Cheeley. I was Maddie Mogen's paternal grandmother, as Ben Mogen, her father, is my son. I'm here today with my sister Lori Cheeley, Maddie's great aunt, and my son Ben Mogen, and my daughter-in-law Corey Hatrock. I'd like to begin by thanking a number of people involved in bringing this case to closure. In my daughter's words, the plea deal the prosecution team reached this month is one that punishes the perpetrator of this horrendous crime, protects the public from further harm, and allows all of us who knew and loved these kids the time to grieve without the anxiety of the long and gruesome trial, the years of appeals, and potential for mistrials along the way. My family and I are so grateful to Bill Thompson and his prosecution team for their dedication and painstaking work that forced the perpetrator to admit his guilt. We want to thank the Idaho State Police.
This is our midweek episode, and we had no intention of carrying this whole thing live. It's very moving. What we heard so far, obviously, very moving, and to watch, those who knew all four of the victims. We're not going to sit and watch the whole thing all day. I don't know. My impressions are that, these people are genuine. We heard from a spokesperson for Bethany Funk, her friend, and we heard from Dylan Mortonson. So it was very surprising that it started out with those two. And then we're hearing now from the family members for Madison Mogen, and obviously the Goncalveses are going to be next. But again, this is our midweek episode. We will digest it as much as we can for our end of the week summary episodes, which we drop on the weekends on Saturday and Sunday mornings. And we would welcome all of your suggestions and comments and thoughts out there, for your input and your thoughts. And I don't know, those are my closing thoughts. What are your closing thoughts, Kelsey?
Just by like watching that small amount of that, you can feel how heavy it is in that courtroom, and you can tell that their statements are genuine.
He just sat there, as always, emotionless.
Very emotionless.
He just seems to be staring at nothing in particular. I noticed that his eyes did seem to swing over towards whoever was speaking. Do you agree with me that he did seem to sometimes be looking at them?
Yeah, his eyes would swing over a little bit, but he has like no empathy in him. Like he didn't even flinch at the fact that they were crying.
No. And, I'm not a psychologist. I mentioned a psychologist who on another channel who has had some interesting content, talking about after his review of the case and Mr. Kohberger's thoughts and actions before. And Dr. Grande did an excellent episode, a couple of excellent episodes. And again, I've never met the man. I don't know the man. I've never collaborated with the man, but my understanding of psychology is Psych 101, and that's it. But it would just seem that, Mr. Kohberger is totally emotionless. I mean, what could he say at this point? What could he say? Even injecting a little bit of humanity into the man, what could he say that any of the family members or Dylan or Bethany or any of the others would what could he possibly say that any of them would take as a sincere statement after something like that? I mean, I've read a lot of true crime over the years, and I've shaken my head and been fascinated and reviled by things that have been done by going all the way back in my life to Charles Manson and Ted Bundy and Bernard Goetz and Jeffrey Dahmer. And I can't bring my mind to understand what it is in a human being that motivates them to that animus and to that type of conduct. In any event, that is our midweek episode. In the next episode, we will talk not only more about this, but we'll talk about Adam Lally, attorney number one in the Karen Reed case, actually being cross-examined on the stand. Any other closing thoughts, Kelsey? Okay, so we've already done what we're going to do in terms of the viewer comments. Again, rather than hear them talk about the four victims, we always close out by reminding everybody that this is about the four victims, Kaylee Goncalves, Madison Mogen, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle. And that's the subject of this episode. And we wish everyone well and hope you'll join us in the next episode where we can dig more into this. And we will be talking to someone who was there, our friend Sue Kopinski. So have a good one.
Whether you're in the grocery store, the gas station, or anywhere else, please remember to be kind to people. You don't know what they're going through. And the same goes for our comments section. We want you to comment, but be nice, be kind, be positive if you can. And thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Have a good one.